Motion to approve the minutes from the monthly tree commission meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, old business, 5.1, MAPCO property noncompliance. And Wayne, I think you have Mike's report.
Yes, ma'am. I'm be handling all of Mike's tonight, due to his, being sick tonight. If you don't mind, he's sent me his, take on it, and I'll read those off when time comes on various items. On the MAPCO property, they have requested the $300 check. And Mike and I were talking today, when they get ready to do the pruning, which they haven't done yet, Mike wants to be there when it's done to make sure that it's done properly, so we'll follow through with that.
Question, if I may.
Yes, sir.
It says on here, compliance and confirm. Okay, never mind. Sorry about that.
Wayne, when you say they've requested the $300 check, is that we've requested it from them?
They've requested it from their,
From MAPCO?
From MAPCO,
Okay.
yes.
From corporate.
I
Okay.
was hoping to have it tonight, but I don't, so.
And do we know when they might start the pruning, just weather permitting? Or?
I would say so. Yeah, I'm gonna let Mike get in touch with Mr. Travis and see when they can set up a time to look at that.
And Mike had said today that was the schedule, the plan. Okay, thank you, Wayne. I might as well just let you go ahead and just go down the list. In Tall Canada, the Walmart landscape,
Yes, ma'am. I believe I forwarded y'all out an email where corporate has approved the Virginia Pines. LSI, which is John Frazier, who we've been talking to, that Mike and I met with, his schedule is, for planning is December the 8th. And by the way, that the new manager's one followed through with who I suggested for him to call, and he got action then.
okay. Okay, 5.3, the roadscapes project update.
Okay, I talked to Andrew Krager yesterday, and we're waiting on the funding to be appropriated so that it can go to bid. So
So they still haven't heard on
that
that?
still hasn't heard anything, and I will probably be seeing her, Denise Baker with TDOT. We'll probably be seeing her next Tuesday, the 9th. Is that when Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah, at the MPO gathering that they're going to have at the Music Center downtown. So, and she will be in attendance there, so that'll be one of mine.
Do we have any? We have nothing, do we? When it might be what they're thinking, what the,
Well, until the funds are there, and I guess with the turnover that TDOT has had, and Denise has probably been on the job less than 3 months. She's took over for the other people that were there. And I have the same problem with the Safer House to School project also. A new person's taken over there.
Is the funds our money up front, or is it their money?
It's the money that will take, it's not our funds. We've got our funds to our match. We have ours, so we're not the holdup. It's the $87,000 that TDOT will be issuing, so.
is it a reimbursable grant or is it?
It's an 80/20 reimbursable, yes, ma'am. We'll have to fund it.
Right, and they reimburse,
And then
okay.
they'll reimburse, yes, ma'am.
And so what did they tell us last month they thought might be the timeline?
He was hoping to get it in this year, but it's not going to happen, I don't think, since it's delay in the funding. And I'm sure Ms. Baker's going to tell me the same thing. She's waiting on people higher up than her to make that decision when the funds are there, and they don't want to obligate funds until they have
Right,
the right
oh,
approval.
no, yeah,
The right approval.
until there's a signed contract in hand,
Yes,
yes. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Review and provide additional details and information on recommendations sent to the BOC from the April 2015 Tree Commission meeting.
There may not be any updates.
Okay.
I just leave it on there just in case there are.
Patty, have we heard anything about cost of plan?
We haven't heard back from them.
No, ma'am,
I don't-
the other gentleman that he was working with, he's been out for a couple of weeks. Mr. Lavender, I believe it was. you know,
Okay.
so.
I guess we can follow up probably before the next meeting just to see, but he was supposed to get back with us.
Right.
And so I'll make a note that,
Mr. Krager is hoping to hear from the funding on this roadscapes project, but I'm sure the minute that he does, he'll be back in touch with me.
Okay. 5.5, Jane, tell me what this is.
We did not get through the rest of the ordinance that last time. Although I think we got past 408. That's where we ended up. We stopped at 13.420, Section B, 2B,
Do we have a page number?
13-21.
Thank you. Oh, I've even made a note.
I want to suggest, I think a lot of this is protection to the trees. I think Mike would be a good one, just to make sure he doesn't have any more comments. But also it deals with a review of the tree list. And I know that at one time, we had mentioned possibly removing like the loblolly pine from the approved tree list. So again, I think we might want to postpone this until we can get Mike to review it and see if he's got any additional comments.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that as a
Second.
motion.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Then we will postpone this until Mr. Berkeley is mended and back with us. New business, 6.1 fast pace update.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I'll read Mike's take on fast pace, and then I'll give you an update as of this afternoon in my discussions with the fast pace developer. Mark with Volunteer Landscape is waiting to get the Juniper Virginia Taylor. This is 6 trees that he hadn't been able to get dug to plant behind the building. As of 12/2/15, the trees have not been dug due to the weather. He is willing to plant arbor vitae. Is that how y'all pronounce that?
You can pronounce it any way you want to.
Okay,
Ryan.
thank you, ma'am.
I don't think we can argue it.
As a temporary screen till the Taylor cedars are ready to meet the bond deadline. The Taylor cedars are an outstanding evergreen that are on the city's approved list. As of this afternoon, we had a situation with the bond. It's due to be called on the 5th. Well, I have talked to them. They're going to get us a $2,000 maintenance bond for a year. And in what I'm holding back on is the final CO. I've issued a temporary CO today to hold them until the trees are planted. When the trees are planted and I've got the bond in place for maintenance, then I'll issue a permanent CO. So I've got us protected both ways.
Okay,
Good, thank you, Wayne. And Mike also was saying this afternoon how their landscape person was so impressed with our,
And he also made that statement to me, that he's very impressed with our overall landscaping recommendations, so.
6.2 Highway 96 storage area.
That's, like, I got the whole agenda, it looks like.
I know. We should just let you just start talking, we'll just fill in where you were talking.
Okay. Highway 96 storage, the large oak that was at the front left corner of Highway 96 storage looks like it was number 23, a 36-inch oak on the tree inventory of the final site plan. If this is the case, this tree was scheduled to be removed.
Oh, so it was scheduled to be removed?
Ma'am.
It's 6.2 and 6.3.
I have an extra
basically.
copy
I
of,
think so.
I could make all copies, I should have made a copy for everybody, but this is, if y'all want to review
Same
those.
thing, all right.
I think it was,
I was just
yeah.
wondering if it is the same, okay.
Do we have a copy of Mike's report to put
Yeah,
in
well, I'll pass
in
it
the
back.
minutes?
We'll make sure
Okay.
Jane gets it.
Okay.
But you need to finish, or are you done with
I'm
everything,
done with that
Mike?
one. He's got a
Okay.
couple of other things I think he would have said in a kind of a comment situation. So
I think I think he did too.
I'll relate that a little later when you get comments ready.
So 6.2 and 6.3 are the same thing. We've somehow managed to separate them, so
Yes, ma'am.
they're good. The tree bank funds,
Same as last month.
we didn't earn any interest this month?
Yes, ma'am, but I haven't seen what that interest is. We haven't got the statements yet this month.
Okay, so let's hear Mike's comments.
Okay, does somebody else want to take over and read Mike's comments on the last three?
I can read them. Do you want me to
Okay.
read them?
Yes, ma'am, that'd be fine. The last three be fine. I didn't want to take over the whole.
That's okay, Wayne. This is why you make the big bucks. The meeting place, the church they're building on 96, would recommend a revisit to the site for tree inventory follow-up. Also, tree protection fencing needs to be properly used per code standards. So I don't think the fencing's up, and I think they've taken out more trees than,
Talking about around the storage area?
no, the church. The church. So we might want to put that on the agenda for next month to discuss. The First District Coffee Shop, there's excavation going on behind that building. And the Tree Commission, don't we also have plans somewhere in this commission about parking? Are they building a parking lot behind the building? What's going?
The four lots that he has doesn't have to, for the four parking spaces that he has, doesn't have to be addressed. If there had been 5 parking spaces, then yes, ma'am, it would have to come.
So the excavation's okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I don't think they're doing parking in the back, I don't think.
Four spaces.
They are adding
Yeah.
4 in the back. I don't think the original plan, when we saw it, had parking on the back, he added 4 on the side, but he said he was just kind of flattening that back side.
He was flattening it out to make it look better, you know. But when I met with Will and John Bledsoe and Todd out there, that was discussed. If there'd been 5 parking spaces, would have had to come not only to us, but the planning commission also. So when it stayed under the 5, then didn't have to come. And this
But
is
it wasn't on the original plan?
It had to be a separate plan that was issued that Will Owen was able to handle in-house, so to speak.
Okay. And then, Mike, as a reminder that the Community Parks Day is Saturday, this Saturday. Need more volunteers. Invasive plant eradication. Well, that sounds like fun.
A lot of pulling, a lot of pulling.
Well, you know what they say, and I'm sure it works for that too, but he who cuts his own firewood is twice warmed. That's right. So I guess if you're eradicating invasive plants, it's the same basic principle.
Can I make one comment before you?
Yes, you can.
I know we've talked several times about the Arbor Day Foundation and becoming a potential tree city. So I actually printed a lot of information on how to become a tree city, and would encourage, I haven't read through it, I just printed it off this evening, but we'll read through it, and I think it's just something we may want to look at as a board. And so if you wanted to, if you go to the Arbor Day Foundation website, you can find out what it takes to be a tree city. We already have a tree ordinance, which is part of it, but they have some different requirements. I know in our long-term plan, that's something we've.
But we've talked about it before.
Several times, so
And I think we're really close. I think that,
I haven't read all the requirements, but
I think we're closer than we have been.
I just know that's kind of on our long-term or maybe not so far distant goals to do.
Any other citizen comments?
A lot about that.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope, the tree continues. I think it's so important to have citizen input. And I would hate to see Fairview come in, become a blacktop city. And, I think where you're going is great. You make sure that with the planning commission, you work with them to make sure there is landscaping. But on some of the things that, like the Dollar General, a little off up front, and even Fred's, I mean, there's been a tree that looks dead, and I think part of it finally fell down. I don't know what the policy is for ones that maybe came in before, or if we have anything we can do to see if they can improve on their landscaping, but, I think what you're doing is good, and I hope part of the city, and that something can be done with just some of the businesses. Just-
A little fluffing, a little fluffing.
But, but I think you're really seeing things through, suggestions of what should be planted, can be planted, and you follow up if you feel it's not where it should be.
Thank you. Well, I think that, and I guess Wayne can kind of, and I realize that we don't have, but I'm going to tell you what I know about the dollar store, or what, about Fred's. Fred's was built before the landscaping ordinance came into being. And I think I even heard rumors at the time that they had literally planted their trees in the buckets.
I think they went out in the woods and about got some trees and put them in the planting islands. And I believe my memory serves me right on that.
So that's, so I kind of think that we can use that kind of as the poster child for what happens if there is no ordinance. And then when you see the new things being built, what happens when there is an ordinance that's being enforced. So, but yeah, it would be wonderful if we could somehow persuade them that now, since everything else is so pretty, it'd be nice if they kind of, but I don't think we really have any, unless we just go and ask nicely.
Yeah, ask nicely would be good, but as far as dollar store goes, I've been disappointed in that for a number of years, so I better keep my mouth shut. But it seems kind of odd that they can do nice places in other parts of the Middle Tennessee.
Well, that's because I think they built that one before we had our,
Well, they did, and
and they didn't have to do anything.
I hate that I was one of them that had to approve it, but they met every regulation we had at that particular time, and we didn't have a tree ordinance at that time, but,
Wasn't Fred's the last metal building, full
Yes,
metal building?
yes, it was.
Fred's was the last full metal building we built in the city.
So I think we should just, we should always refer to those as the poster children for what happens if there is no ordinance and what happens when there is one.
and I hope that's not holding up that development in between them.
Well,
Maybe the embarrassment of being the poster child for that might stir them to do
Yeah,
something.
it would be nice if they would, so.
thank you. All right, anything else? Yes, sir.
I'd like to just, the citizens that are listening, to make sure they fill out their census. It's very important to the city. I think it's, if we have enough citizens here that we're not getting reimbursement for from the state, I'd rather the city of Fairview have the money than the state. So that's kind of what the mayor and I have been at many meetings. They've told us we're leaving money on the table, and I don't want to do that, so.
Is it going good? I mean, as far as.
It's going pretty good right now, but, there's, there'll be a second mail out, and Tom has secured someone to certify it, which was getting pretty tough to find someone to certify it, so, but he has secured someone to do so. They're having to come from Cookville to do so, but that was better than, I think Memphis was the other spot, so.
Well, and the Vice Mayor said it has to do with Title I, and then also just different funding like elderly. I mean, there's different dollars that we can get just due to the population.
Gas tax.
The state street aid is, it helps us out there, and the more we get there, the more roads I'll be able to pave next year.
What's the deadline to get the census results back?
I
mean,
think it's sometime in January, and I'm not sure about the actual day, but I think that's when the next mail out will be. And, but Brandy's keeping up with it real close.
Is there a place that people can drop the form instead of having to?
It's online.
Do it online.
You can do it online, or if you bring it to City Hall, we'll make sure it gets to the right place.
I've
Drop 'em
had
in the
people
box out here.
hand them to me at
Yeah, I
odd
brought 'em in.
places.
Brought them in too.
Hey, at a certain time, we'll be going around picking them up and going knocking on doors.
So we'll just put tape onto our doors and you'll stop and
Just give me a call, I'll get it picked up.
They can possibly drop them in the boxes out here.
If they drop in the boxes, we'll take care of it. Yeah.
Can we put that online?
I'll make sure when Susan and them check the, box out there that if it's, that, I've told them that they could drop it in the box out there.
And we'll let the public know that they can do
Yes.
that.
a lot of people don't, it's amazing that a lot of people in Fairview still don't have online.
Yes, ma'am, you're very much, correct on that.
Okay, well, with no further business, we will see you the 5th of January, and we are adjourned. How was that, Jane?